Hi guys, my name is Nabila and I suffer from intracranial hypertension. Basically, that means that my spinal fluid, I can't remember the big name. No, not that I can't remember the big name of it, I can't pronounce the big name of it. My spinal fluid does not balance out into my body, which causes it to gather alongside my skull, which causes skull swelling, which is extremely harmful not only for the brain but for everything on my face, which is my eyes, my nose, my mouth, all the senses there, and my ears. So last August, I had an emergency brain surgery where they installed in me a VP shunt, which basically takes the extra fluid from my brain through I want to say it is a straw, but it is not a straw. A tube, that's it. It basically is a structure that takes the fluid from the brain through a tube into your stomach where you could pass it out as excess waste. Um, in a regular person, the fluid balances off and stays at a maximum of 50. That's the number. I think it's 400 mLs a day in a person. I'll confirm that. But yeah, the opening pressure or the pressure in a regular or in normal human body should be at 50, whereas mine's was way past 150 by a lot, which led to the surgery, which we had to do in order to save my sight, which I guess is kind of helping, but I still can't see 100%. If I were to give a percentage of what I can see, would probably be a little less than 20%. You know how it is on a foggy day where you're just standing with fog all around and all you could see is like light? Yeah, that's how my vision has been since August 2023. Before that, I could have seen though. So maybe I should talk about my journey, how this all started. It started with a ringing in my ear, which obviously when you hear a ringing in your ear, it's like, oh, you have an ear infection. Go by the EMT, ENT, the ears, nose, and throat doctor. I ended up going by him. Nothing was wrong with my ears. He just saw a bit of redness, but no infections. And the bit of redness should have been like my first red flag, but I didn't take it on because like, oh, okay. And then he like explained that it sometimes could be jaw tension, which I did not know was a thing. So he gave me this like, I want to say it's numbing medicine to just like rub on the sides of my jaw after heating or warming the skin and loosening the muscles with like a warm cloth. So yeah, after that, we my eyes started to worsen, I should say, because like I was seeing from one eye was double vision. That should have been my second red flag, but like I didn't take it on either until like July. I went to see an ophthalmologist And he said that, well, basically nothing is wrong with your eye. It's something higher than that, which obviously higher than your eyes is your brain. So from the moment I heard brain, I was like, holy crap, something is definitely wrong. So from the eye doctors, he wrote us up our recommendation to see a neurologist. Went by the neurologist, did his screening, and I was like, this is a case of papilledema, and in my case, it is an emergency. So my anxiety was at fleet, you know. When you go by the brain doctor and they're like, oh my, it's an emergency, like the most calming tone possible. It's like, I don't think it's something to be calm about. So after that, spent a week in the hospital, did a lumbar puncture, which is basically where they insert a needle and a tube a little bit above your tailbone, straight into your back to get to the spinal fluid, drain out how much fluid until they get back to a regular pressure, which I said would be like 50. Oh, I should fix that. It's 50, 25 to 50. It should not cross 50. So they brought down back my fluid till I believe the first time was 23. While they were performing the lumbar puncture, my head felt as though it was being deflated. Literally. Like if somebody had pumped air into my skull and it was being let loose. That was the most excruciating pain ever. Imagine a headache times 100,000. That's how horrible it was. And the lumbar puncture wasn't even painful, it was just uncomfortable. But the headache that came with it was excruciating. So after that procedure, they said, well, everything went well. I was a good sport. They filled out the documents, and said they would monitor me for the night, and I should be able to go home tomorrow. Now here comes, I believe, the third red flag. So with intracranial hypertension, some of the symptoms are migraines or headaches, vomiting, like extreme vomiting, nerve pinching, and the double vision. I'm sure there is more. Those were my symptoms. So when they finished with the procedure, I slept well, I didn't sleep. I relaxed actually until my mom came to visit me. And I was hungry. So I ate like 2 hot dogs, and within like probably less than 5 minutes, as soon as it went down, it came back out. That should have been my third red flag. So I ate nothing else for the evening. I slept straight until the next day. And then when I woke up, guess what? Fourth red flag, my vision started to blur even more. So basically, at this point, I thought, okay, well, since it took a while for the fluid to build up, it's just my nerves getting back in order. I was completely wrong. So I went home, took leave from work, and then basically for like the next week, complained that my vision is worsening. And then when we went back by the eye doctor, your girl got diagnosed once again with papilledema. 2 for 2. Okay, now this time I was like extremely scared. Like it was worse than before. The fluid was building at a rapid pace, and I couldn't see now. Like everywhere I looked was just completely black. couldn't see the light in the sky, couldn't see the floor, couldn't differentiate black from white, pink from orange, red from brown. Everything was just like black. I would say black because it was so dark. And like, even if you were next to me, I probably would see the difference between your outline and the background, but it would be the same color. So after getting re-diagnosed with papilledema, this time at so the last time was emergency. This is like emergency times 100, because if we didn't see about it soon, I would be completely blind. So I get readmitted to the hospital, get a new set of doctors who was like, so judging from the results of the second lumbar puncture, your spinal fluid is not regular. It keeps building back up as soon as we drain how much ever amount. So the only solution for this would be a VP shunt or a lumbar shunt, which I do not want the lumbar shunt. So the VP shunt is basically where they put a tube. It probably have another name, like a more medical name, but like tube is like, I'll say tube so everybody understand what I'm talking about. You know the tube the drips is run through, so probably like a couple millimeters wide, and they run that from your brain. They pass it from, well, mine is on my right side, so they pass it from the right side over onto my right shoulder, my chest area, or straight to my stomach. And what that does do, I think I explained it earlier, it basically, once the fluid starts to gather at an abnormal amount, it drains it to the stomach so it can pass it as waste. So the moment the doctor started explaining all these things, I started to freak out because, like, I didn't want to do no surgery. Like, imagine not being able to see and your doctor talking to you, and well, my mom was there at the time. Well, no, she wasn't. I was by myself. And they're saying, well, so basically, you need to perform, not you have to, you need to perform the surgery in order to save not only your eyes, but to save yourself. So I was like, okay, no problem. I told them once everything is settled and organized, so call my mom because, like, honestly, she was my rock through everything. And then I end up telling them myself the night that they call, and everybody was like, okay, don't freak out. We'll be there with you, and so forth. The next day, we were supposed to have the surgery done. When my mom came, she was talking to my doctors, and like, I really give it to the hospital doctors because they really did try. And I believe if they had known sooner, I probably would have been able to see right now, but they did try their hardest. After the doctor explained everything to them, well, mostly my mom, obviously being the person she is, she told like my aunts, which I'm extremely grateful for till this day, because like, honestly, when you're going through such a crisis, family is really the strongest point you have, and this is when you'll know if they really stand by you. So like, I'm really, 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 really extremely grateful for my aunts and her husband. So once they discussed the surgery, my mom signed. Well, actually, no, I fingerprinted because your girl can't see to sign. So after we got through the paperworks and whatnot, we went up Port of Spain. No, I'm laughing because it was so funny. At the time, it wasn't. It really wasn't. But looking back on it, was like how hilarious this place is, because I got sent all the way to the Port of Spain hospital for emergency surgery, only for the nurse or the attendee at the time to say, well, we don't have any more beds, so you have to go back down south and wait until we call with a bed. And I was like, well, at the point in time, I was crying. Like, I'm like, the only thing that was going through my head was like, am I going to die? I'm going to die. Is this my last lap? So, like, it was so freaking scary. But looking back on it now, I could laugh at it. But I was like kind of upset and frustrated because, like, this is an emergency, yet nobody was making it seem as though it was an emergency. So from Port of Spain, we go back down to San Fernando General Hospital. And then after my aunt and uncle heard that, they were pissed, like maximum level pissed. So guess what? Your girl went to a nursing home. They plucked me from the hospital, took whatever papers we could have get and what would have explained the situation to the doctors at the nursing home. And we booked it literally. Within like the next hour or two, I was getting readmitted to the nursing home. This where I had the surgery performed. Thankfully, and I'm so grateful for my neurosurgeon. Like literally, he's a lifesaver. Cause even though he could have said like, "Oh, we can't perform this surgery right now," blah 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 blah, he immediately was like, "Okay, so I can't operate right now. We'll operate tomorrow, and the latest we'll operate is the day after tomorrow." And he kept his word. I slept in the hospital. I was admitted for like, let's say 2 days, and the day after that, surgery was done, and it was 100% successful. Can I say at the moment? Not 100%. But if he really didn't step in, or if my aunt and uncle didn't push for us to leave the hospital, I probably wouldn't be seen at all. So, like, major shout out to my doctor. So that's basically my story. So from this road now, it's just recovery. And well, there are some limitations, so like I can't read anymore. And if you had known me or ever know me or ever met me, I love to read, I love books, I love to write. So that's one of my hobbies that has been executed out of my life for now, because I still believe one day I will be able to see and I will be able to write again, read again. Another thing is, well, I started back recently going places, but of course with a guide. Although recently I went on a small lunch out with my friends and it was extremely nice, and they like treat me like normal. So I'm thankful for them that I am actually the same Nabila they knew me as. It was so fun, so I'm really thankful for them. And like I said, I'm extremely grateful and thankful for my family because, like, no matter what, they stuck by me. Because, like I said, when you're going through something that you don't even know how to explain to anybody, it's hard, like extremely hard. So that is basically it. That is my story for now. I still like, going places, even though the experience would be new and different. I guess I just have to start experiencing life on the blind side.